In the spring of 1972, a young acrobat named Jackie Chan arrived at a remote monastery nestled in the Wudang Mountains. He had traveled 3 days by foot, carrying only a small bag and a letter of introduction from his opera school master. Jackie was 17, skilled in tumbling and stage combat, but he knew nothing of true martial discipline. The monastery's master was Bruce Lee, though he went simply by Master Lee in these halls. At 31, Bruce had already achieved fame beyond the temple walls, but he had retreated here to teach a select few students the philosophy behind the movements, not just the movements themselves. When Jackie presented his letter, Bruce studied the young man's eager face and calloused hands. "Why have you come?" Bruce asked. "To learn to fight," Jackie replied confidently. Bruce smiled. "Then you have come to the wrong place. Here we learn to understand." For the first month, Jackie was not allowed to practice a single technique. Instead, Bruce had him carry water from the mountain stream, chop firewood, and sweep the monastery's endless corridors. Jackie grew frustrated, watching the other students train while he performed menial tasks. One evening, he confronted his teacher. "Master Lee, I did not travel all this way to be a servant." Bruce set down his tea and gestured for Jackie to sit. "Tell me, when you carried water today, how many trips did you make?" 20, maybe 25, Jackie answered impatiently. "And did you spill any?" Jackie paused. "Yes, quite a bit, actually." "That," Bruce said gently, "is because you were thinking about being a servant instead of about carrying water. When you master the art of carrying water, you will understand the art of everything else." The next day, Jackie approached his chores differently. He focused on each step, each movement, finding efficiency in his motions. Within a week, he could carry 2 full buckets without spilling a drop, even on the steep mountain paths. Bruce began his training, but Bruce's methods were unlike anything Jackie had expected. Instead of teaching him to punch and kick with power, Bruce taught him to move like water, to adapt like wind. When Jackie tried to force a technique, Bruce would stop him. "You are thinking like an acrobat performing for an audience," Bruce would say. "The true martial artist performs for no one. He simply is." One afternoon, a group of bandits arrived at the monastery, demanding food and money. The other students looked to Bruce, expecting him to fight, but he invited the men inside and offered them tea. Jackie watched in confusion as his master served these criminals with the same care he showed his students. "Why didn't you fight them?" Jackie asked after the bandits had left peacefully, their bags filled with rice Bruce had given them. "I did fight them," Bruce replied. "I fought their hunger, their desperation, their belief that violence was their only option. They arrived as enemies and left as men who knew kindness. Tell me, which victory is greater?" Jackie trained at the monastery for 2 years. He learned that speed without control was merely chaos, that strength without wisdom was just brutality, and that the flashiest technique was often the least effective. Bruce taught him that martial arts was not about defeating others, but about mastering oneself. On the day Jackie prepared to leave, Bruce walked him to the monastery gates. The young man who had arrived seeking to learn how to fight was departing, as someone who understood why not to fight. "Master Lee," Jackie said, bowing deeply, "I came here wanting to be like you. Now I understand that I must be like myself." Bruce placed a hand on his student's shoulder. "Then you have learned the most important lesson. The world will want you to be someone else, to fight their way, to prove yourself by their standards. But the water does not apologize for being water. The mountain does not try to be the valley. Be authentically yourself, and you will move through this world with the grace of truth." Jackie bowed one final time and began his descent down the mountain. Behind him, Bruce watched until his student disappeared around the bend, knowing that someday the world would see what he already knew, that this young acrobat carried within him not just skill but wisdom. And in the years that followed, whenever Jackie performed his death-defying stunts or brought laughter to millions, he remembered the monastery and the master who taught him that the greatest art was not in the spectacular, but in the authentic.